Have you ever walked into your house after a long day, thrown the heavy metal of the deadbolt, and felt a sudden, terrifying urge to just never ever open that door again? There is a silent tension that doesn't get addressed enough in our modern faith. We think comfort is the reward for surviving life, but true comfort is often the anesthetic we swallow so we don't have to live it. You tell yourself you are just protecting your peace. You tell yourself you are just establishing healthy boundaries against a chaotic world. But that is not peace. That is a fortress wearing the clothes of a sanctuary. And if you stay locked in there long enough, you won't just keep the chaos out. You will eventually lock out the very voice of God. We call it self-care. We call it wisdom. We call it waiting on the Lord when we are actually just hiding from the storm. The truth is, many of us have quietly replaced the pursuit of a dangerous, transformative God with the pursuit of absolute, uninterrupted predictability. We have built padded cells for our theology. By the end of this message, you will know exactly where you have traded your true calling for mere convenience, and more importantly, you will know exactly how to unthrow that deadbolt and step back into the wild, unpredictable air of genuine faith. Sign 1. You outsource your compassion. It's 7 p.m. You are sinking into the cushions of your couch, the blue light of a screen washing over your tired face, and a news segment flashes on a tragedy, or a friend texts you about a heartbreaking diagnosis. In the New Testament, when Jesus is moved with compassion, the Greek word used is splongschinzomai. Literally, it means a yearning in the bowels, a physical twisting of the gut. It was a biological reaction to someone else's pain that forced the body into immediate, costly motion. But when you love comfort more than you love God, your gut no longer twists. You just click donate, type a praying hands emoji, or swiftly scroll past the imagery, outsourcing your empathy to an algorithm or a charity so you don't have to feel the visceral ache yourself. The Apostle John writes in 1 John 3:17, "But if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him?" Notice the phrasing, closing the heart is an active defense mechanism. This isn't just compassion fatigue, it is actually a deliberate spiritual insulation. The enemy wants you to believe that feeling deeply is a threat to your emotional stability, so he hands you a heavy blanket of apathy to keep you safe and useless. Next time you feel the immediate urge to scroll past someone's profound pain, stop, say their name out loud in the empty room. Pray for them audibly for 60 uninterrupted seconds. Apathy builds a comfortable fortress, but compassion builds a bridge that forces you to walk outside. Sign 2. You interpret friction as rejection. You finally decide to start that new ministry, or step into a deeply fractured relationship, or tithe when the math doesn't make sense, and immediately things go wrong. Your schedule blows up, the people involved become impossibly difficult, the finances strain to the breaking point. You immediately pull back and tell yourself, this must be a closed door. The greatest threat here isn't your lack of faith. It is the confident assumption that God's will is always the path of least resistance. You assume that if God is in it, the deadbolt will slide open effortlessly and the red carpet will roll out. Hold your hands completely open in front of you right now as you watch this. Look at your empty palms. Think about the heaviest, most difficult obligation in your life right now. Are you trying to drop it just because it is heavy? James 1:2-4 lays it out perfectly. "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness." What looks like a devastating spiritual detour is really the exact gymnasium where your endurance is being forged. Comfort tells you to drop what is heavy, but conviction tells you the weight is what makes you strong. History gives us a striking example of what happens when we try to outrun friction. Look at the prophet Jonah. When God called him into the violent, uncomfortable mess of Nineveh, Jonah didn't just politely decline. The text notes a specific trajectory. He went down to Joppa, went down into the ship, and then went down into the inner part of the hull to fall asleep while a hurricane tore the sky apart. Away from God is always a descent into the dark, padded belly of isolation, hoping the storm will just pass overhead without demanding anything of your life. Sign 3. Your prayers are only boundary requests. Listen closely to the specific vocabulary you use when your knees hit the floor. Lord, keep me safe. Lord, smooth out this meeting. Lord, don't let this unexpected bill happen. Lord, protect my perimeter. You are treating the creator of the cosmos like a private security guard hired to patrol the edges of your life. You find yourself saying, I just want things to go back to normal, entirely forgetting that normal was the very place where your soul was stagnating. The Hebrew word, often translated as comfort or consolation, nacham, carries a deep sense of a heavy sigh, a change of mind, and finding solace inside a living relationship. It implies drawing near to a person, but we don't want the person of God. We just want the relief He can provide. We want the benefits of the kingdom without the king. In Matthew 6:10, Jesus teaches us to pray, "Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven." We call this praying for peace. God calls it praying for paralysis. Tonight, before your head hits the pillow, change your prayer from "protect me from this" to "prepare me for this," and notice the radical difference in your chest. Fear asks God to remove the mountain, but faith asks God for the strength to climb it. What if the very thing you've been thanking God for protecting you from was the exact storm He sent to wake you up? Sign 4. You demand predictability from grace. I was writing this script at 2 in the morning, staring at my own locked front door, realizing with a sick feeling how much of my own weekly schedule is strictly, ruthlessly engineered to avoid any spontaneous interruptions from people who might need something from me. You likely have your routine perfectly dialed in. The coffee is exactly hot enough. The morning devotional book is cracked open to the right page. The pastel highlighters are perfectly aligned on the desk. You give 15 scheduled minutes to Jesus, neatly packaged, and then it is right back to the grind of controlling your day. Listen to the warning in John 3:8. The wind blows where it wishes, and you hear its sound, but you do not know where it comes from or where it goes. So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit. The tragedy of the modern believer isn't that we've stopped seeking God, it is that we've insisted on putting Him on a tight leash, walking Him only in the fenced-in dog parks of our Sunday mornings and designated quiet times. We want a God who obeys our calendar. Leave 20 minutes completely blank in your schedule tomorrow afternoon. Leave the deadbolt unlocked, metaphorically speaking, and tell God He has absolute permission to interrupt your day. Routine manages a predictable schedule, but the Spirit demands an open door. If this is opening something up for you, take a second and subscribe. That's genuinely how this exact message reaches someone else who is sitting in their own locked room tonight, wondering why they feel so empty. Sign 5. You resent the needs of others. It is the spring of the year, the time when kings go off to war, but David is in Jerusalem. It is late afternoon, the sun baking the limestone of the royal palace. David is pacing the roof. He is safe. The heavy wooden deadbolt of the kingdom has been thrown shut, insulating him from the blood and the dirt of the battlefield. He earned this comfort, didn't he? He spent decades running from a mad king, sleeping in damp caves, fighting giants in the dust. Now he just wants peace. He looks down from his fortress, and he sees something he shouldn't see. He sees Bathsheba bathing. The moment comfort turns from a well-earned reward into a lethal predator is the exact moment you stop looking in gratitude at what God has given you and start looking in boredom at what you can take. David doesn't just look, he leverages the very machinery of his God-given power to service his own dark appetite. He sends for her, he takes her, And then, the terrifying message arrives at the palace. I am pregnant. The illusion of the padded room shatters in an instant. Comfort always produces a hidden consequence that eventually demands to be fed. David spirals into damage control. He brings Bathsheba's husband, Uriah, back from the brutal front lines. He tries to manipulate Uriah into going down to his house to sleep with his wife to perfectly cover up the king's mess. But Uriah refuses. He sleeps on the cold, hard stone of the palace steps. When the king demands to know why, Uriah looks at the king in his plush robes and says, "The ark and Israel and Judah dwell in booths. Shall I then go to my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife?" The man who is supposed to be on the outside, covered in the dirt of the world, possesses vastly more spiritual integrity than the anointed king sitting in the penthouse. Uriah's beautiful, loyal discomfort brutally exposes the rotting, comfortable soul of David. You don't defeat the idol of comfort by trying to manage your sins better in the dark. You defeat it by breaking the deadbolt, walking down from the roof, and confessing the rot before it kills you entirely. 2 Samuel 11:1 sets the trap perfectly. In the spring of the year, the time when kings go out to battle, David remained at Jerusalem. That is not the reward of faithful leadership you are enjoying. That is the slow, invisible decay of a warrior who simply stopped fighting. The enemy doesn't need to destroy your life with a sudden tragedy. He only needs to sedate your calling with an abundance of luxury. Write down the name of one specific person whose messy, complicated life you've been actively avoiding because they are too inconvenient for your pristine schedule. Text them today. Ask them how you can help carry their burden. Comfort watches the battle from the roof, but calling gets its hands dirty in the trenches. Even the Apostle Paul struggled with the brutal temptation of the easy way out. He was sitting in a damp, freezing Roman prison cell, his back covered in scars, writing his final letter to Timothy. He could have asked for a lawyer, for a diplomatic bribe, for any escape hatch to get back to a comfortable life. Instead, he asked for his heavy winter cloak, and he asked for his parchment scrolls. He didn't want the comfort of escape. He wanted the heavy tools required to keep doing the bloody work in the dark. Sign 6. You confuse rest with numbing. Your thumb is just sliding up the cold glass of the screen. One short, meaningless video, then another, then 50 more. Your knuckles are loose. Your eyes are perfectly glazed over. The room is dark and the clock ticks silently past midnight. You hear that quiet, desperate voice in the back of your head say, "Just 5 more minutes." But it is a lie. It is always an hour. You tell yourself you are just unwinding after a deeply stressful, demanding day at work. But the most dangerous thing happening on that couch isn't the garbage content you are consuming. It is the subtle, silent agreement you are making to remain entirely absent from your own actual life. Christ makes an astonishing offer in Matthew 11:28. "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." You think this endless scrolling distraction is resting your weary spirit, but it is actually anesthetizing your God-given mind. True rest involves bringing your exhaustion to the Creator and allowing Him to refill the well. Numbing is just putting a cheap lid over an empty bucket so you don't have to look at the bottom. This evening, power your primary device entirely down. Not on silent, but totally powered off. 1 full hour before you intend to sleep, and force yourself to sit in the deafening silence of your own thoughts. Numbing distracts you from the exhaustion, but true rest heals the source of the weariness. Sign 7. You avoid the fellowship of suffering. You see someone in the lobby at church who just lost their job or buried their spouse, and you deliberately, quietly take the opposite aisle to get to your seat. You tell yourself you just don't know what to say, but the deeper truth is that their raw grief makes your perfectly manicured, bubble-wrapped life feel incredibly fragile. You don't want their pain to rub off on you. The Greek word for fellowship, used by the early church, is koinonia, Today, we use it for potluck dinners and polite coffee hour chatter. But when Paul uses it, he speaks of the koinonia of Christ's sufferings, a literal shared participation in the bleeding, broken, devastated parts of the human experience. Paul reveals his deepest desire in Philippians 3:10, that I may know him in the power of his resurrection and may share his sufferings, becoming like him in his death. We have engineered a modern version of Christianity that arrogantly expects to wear the crown without ever once touching the splintered wood of the cross. Find the person in your immediate circle who is hurting right now. Go to their physical location and just sit with them. Do not offer theological solutions, just share the sacred space of their sorrow. Isolation keeps your hands clean, but suffering is the soil where intimacy with God grows. Apathy builds a comfortable fortress, but compassion builds a bridge that forces you to walk outside. Comfort tells you to drop what is heavy, but conviction tells you the weight is what makes you strong. Fear asks God to remove the mountain, but faith asks God for the strength to climb it. Routine manages a predictable schedule, but the Spirit demands an open door. Comfort watches the battle from the roof, but calling gets its hands dirty in the trenches. Numbing distracts you from the exhaustion, but true rest heals the source of the weariness. Isolation keeps your hands clean, but suffering is the soil where intimacy with God grows. First, you must deeply recognize that the heavy deadbolt you threw to protect yourself from the world has actually become the lock on your own spiritual prison cell. Second, understand that God loves you entirely too much to let you comfortably sleep away your divine calling in a padded room. And the third thing that stays with me most, true enduring peace is never found in the artificial absence of the storm, but in the overwhelming presence of the Savior walking with you through the violent middle of it. Comfort is the only prison where the inmates fight to keep the doors locked, but grace is the key that breaks it open. If you know someone who is utterly exhausted from trying to maintain their own perfect insulated fortress, send them this today. Before you scroll away, pick the one habit from this list that hit you the hardest. Just one. Tell me which one in the comments below, and type "Break the Deadbolt, Lord" if you are finally ready to step outside. And if you want to keep dismantling the comfortable illusions that hold you back and step into a faith that actually transforms you, subscribe right now. Listen to me closely. You have not ruined anything. You might have been hiding in the dark hallway of your life for a very long time, absolutely terrified of the howling wind outside. But the Lord is profoundly gentle with those who are afraid. Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you." Notice the absolute guarantee. He does not promise you a dry, comfortable walk on the shore. He promises his unshakable presence in the center of the flood. You do not have to be afraid of the friction anymore. Reach out your hand, turn the heavy handle, open the door. The wild, beautiful, breathtaking air of grace is waiting for you on the other side.